Hey guys, so I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about this announcement in the news. So this actually went live right as the game exited from maintenance today, and I got a lot of people asking me about this. And I didn't even see this until somebody tagged me on it, because I don't really check every little thing in the news here. So let's go ahead and read through this, and then I'll give my thoughts on this, and I'll try and decipher what this means, because there's a lot. Look at this. Hello? Are there enough issues here? The main one is going to be this first one. And this is what we're going to spend most of the time. I guess we'll read. I honestly haven't even read through the rest of this stuff, but let's talk about this first part here. So we have confirmed the existence of the following issues and are now investigating them. We apologize for the inconvenience we are causing our players, but we would like to ask for your patience until these issues are addressed. Okay, so let's go ahead and read through this first part. Issues under investigation regarding Tien DBL4902S's unique ability called Critical Suppressive Fire. So this Tien is the one that is not yet released in game. He is going to be releasing on the 31st. I don't know, for some reason DBZ Space does not actually have the data yet available, so I can't pull up the banner, I can't pull up the actual unit itself. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking up my old video that I made today. This is my video. And this is the unique ability in question that is having an issue. Okay, so due to issues discovered just prior to release, the following planned effects have been removed temporarily. So obviously by removed temporarily means that they are no longer included in this ability, but because it says temporarily, I assume that means that they're going to be adding this back in later on at some point. So I was kind of thinking this to myself when I was reading this unique ability. It's kind of small, and it's kind of not up to that level that you would really expect from a modern summonable sparking, a post 4-year anniversary sparking character. A little bit underwhelming. And the reason being is because of this. Here is what the effect that they removed was. While this character is on standby, and there are 3 enemy battle members remaining, stops an enemy's rising rush and activates a support action if you lose the wager. Activates once. Deals major impact damage when support action activates. So let me... And this is the damage from this attack cannot cause the enemy to be defeated. And yeah, this All-Star 14 is the banner that's going to go live this weekend. These issues will be corrected and the effects restored in the next version update. So this is what this is saying is this effect was supposed to be within this unique ability that Tien was supposed to have on release, but due to an issue, he will not have access to that part of his unique ability, which is very strange because they're kind of giving us like an incomplete character. But at some point in the future, he's going to be receiving the correct unique ability. So it's like, if you pull for this character and you pull Tien, and I'm going to be pulling for him and I'm going to do my showcase day 1 on this character, he's not going to be at his best because he's literally missing what I would argue is probably the most important part of what he can do, period. So what this ability is doing is, as long as you have 3 battle members alive and this character is not currently switched in, you essentially nullify the enemy's rising rush and you hit them with a blue card. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from this effect, from the wording of this effect. If you do not guess the rising rush, if you lose the wager, which means you don't guess the enemy's rising rush, he stops the enemy's rising rush and activates a support action. Support action being major impact damage, which just sounds like a blue card to me. So that's really what I'm getting from this. And this is really the first character that we're ever getting in the game who directly interferes with the enemy's ability to hit you with a rising rush. I mean, sure, we've had characters in the past that like really heavily disincentivize you from using a rush. And I think up until this point, we've had 3 major ones, right? They're going to be Tapion, this Goku, and then Roberry. And the reason being is because they all have this really, really powerful effect where they shorten their own sub count by 10 when an enemy activates Rising Rush. that is extremely powerful, especially for a character. I think Rowberry probably is the character where people really, really do not want to use a Rising Rush, even when he's not switched in, because of that effect. Where is it? Right here. Shortens own sub count by 10 when the enemy activates Rising Rush, and he has Endurance. That's the main reason why. Because if you activate Rising Rush against a team that has Rowberry on it, he can instantly switch in, and he survives because of his Endurance. And then he has a team heal as the main ability. Like, this character actually is, like, ridiculous. And the main reason why he is so good is because of his ability to control the Rising Rush. And to be honest with you guys, that's one of the reasons why the revival mechanic in this game is so good, is because of its ability to control the Rising Rush. We've seen characters introduced like Full Power Frieza, Aleph Rose, Yellow Demon King Piccolo, Yellow Hit, who are able to essentially just flat out always nullify Endurance. So in that regard, Rowberry is not going to be as useful, and just Endurance characters in general are not going to be as useful. And that was sort of the devs' answer to people being afraid, essentially, to Rising Rush Endurance characters. And then they basically came up with a counter to that effect, which was the revival mechanic. And the revival mechanic, again, the biggest impact that it had on the game was that it discouraged people a lot from using the Rising Rush. But now we're at this stage here. The stage, they're finally acknowledging, well, I mean, I don't really know if I want to call this finally acknowledging, but they're essentially giving us a tool to be used directly against Rising Rush to actually just completely nullify the Rising Rush, which is really, 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 really meaningful. And I'm actually very thankful that they went ahead and put this on a character like Tien, because if they had done this, imagine they do this, right? What is a tag that they always buff? Imagine if this guy had this effect. Imagine if this guy had this effect, and you always think about how many teams this unit is on. Sun Family, Saiyan, Universe Survival Saga. I mean, Saiyans, you could pretty much run them at any team. You could put in the leader slot of any team. You would be seeing people's Rising Rush getting negated every single match. Now, obviously, there's a condition here, right? You have to have 3 members off the live, and you have to not be switched into the battlefield, right? So I don't know, like, is this going to propel Tien to being like one of the best units in the game? It's possible. I think if they do that, I think if this Tien does end up being one of the best units in the game because of this effect, it actually could be pretty good, because obviously I'm not a huge fan of Rising Rush, and I doubt a lot of people that watch this video are a big fan of Rising Rush. But the thing that makes this interesting is the leader slot, because you can pretty much throw this Tien on the leader slot of any team, and that instantly makes it extremely difficult for your enemy to use Rising Rush against you. The thing I want to test out, and I'm not sure if this is going to work this way, but even if you're switched into Tien, and let's say you're getting comboed, right? The enemy's comboing you, and they're farming your Dragon Balls, they're comboing you for a long time, and then they activate their Rising Rush while you're getting comboed, while you're switched into Tien. Can you cover change into a different character, lose the wager, and then Tien's effect will activate? I think it probably will. And that to me is what makes this so good. Because if you were switching, because it doesn't say upon activation of Rising Rush, it just says stops an enemy's Rising Rush if you lose the wager. So I guess the timing of when this will activate is as soon as you lose the wager, aka as soon as you do not successfully guess your opponent. So with that wording and the way that it's stated here, it sounds to me like this is going to activate even if Tien is the one who gets rushed, but you're able to cover change and have somebody else eat the rush, which is so ridiculous. You're just going to nullify it. Oh my, dude, this effect is, I'm just trying to think to myself, like, how often are matches decided by Rising Rush? Is it like 50% plus? It's possible that like 50% of the time or more, matches are decided by Rising Rushes. And if that is the case, this easily could be the biggest and most impactful effect in the entire game we've ever seen, right? So again, I'm happy they're doing this for a character like Tien, who otherwise would not really see much play, wouldn't really see much light of day, to be honest. But because of the leader slot and because of how easy it is now to include pretty much any character and any team you want, we could be seeing a world where we have a leader slot Tien just like extravaganza, and everybody's trying to use this effect because of how insane it is. And the last thing I'll mention is this actually this is actually very close to what I was saying about with what my dream, quote unquote, dream unit would be next. I want an Ultra Demon King Piccolo whose intro animation is him killing Shenron, but then as a result of that, the Dragon Balls would turn to stone and nobody for the entire match would be able to use Rising Rush. That's my ideal character. That's what I want to see. I think removing the Rising Rush from the equation for both players is the most fair way to do this, because the way that this is handling this is just giving the person using Tien the advantage. And it's not like Tien is a bad unit without this effect. Because even without this effect, he's still doing a lot. He's still hitting pretty hard. He's supporting. Like, I think he's still really good. His green card's reducing sub count. Like, he's doing all these different things. And he's not like a dead character if this doesn't activate. But the thing that I'm scared of, the thing that I'm scared of about this ability is the potential that we get into this situation where if you're not using Tien, you are just instantly at a massive disadvantage, which I could very, very easily see happening because of how stupid this effect is. Like, imagine you're just able to nullify your enemy's Rising Rush, but then your enemy is not able to nullify your Rising Rush because they just aren't using Tien. Like, that just gives you such a big advantage. It's actually ridiculous. I am very interested in seeing how this effect turns the game around once they actually fix this and implement this into the game, because this is actually just ridiculous. I don't even think we need to really look at everything else. I don't really think there's anything too else that's really in question here. I think a lot of the other stuff is just kind of trivial, like, oh, like this event doesn't work properly or like stuff like that. So this is really the only thing I wanted to point out, because this effect is, again, potentially the single strongest effect in the history of Dragon Ball Legends. And they gave it to a Tien unit, which is interesting. So hopefully we get some buffs for like Dragon Ball Saga where they have similar effects to this. That's the way they can make those teams really stand out. They just make these incredibly busted abilities. But I guess the way to do it is you would have to limit it to your tag. So like maybe they should have done it where like you could only use this if your whole team was Super Warriors or something like that, because this is dude, this is insanity. This is insanity. Like, why would you not use him on every team? You just get a free Rising Rush nullification, I guess. And it's like, think about this as well. If you guess your opponent's rush, you still have access to this in your back pocket because it didn't activate. So, I don't know, dude. I want you guys to let me know down below how you think about this. And I'm excited to see how this plays out, because this is different. This is different for sure.